In most parts of the world, political leadership is seen as an exhausting, thankless job. You kiss babies, shake hands, and attempt to run a country while being criticized for absolutely everything. But in Africa, for some leaders, politics is like winning the lottery, except you don't even have to buy a ticket. It's a career where a humble public servant's salary somehow blossoms into a net worth of $500 million. If that's not magic, what is? Let's dive into the lives of 10 of Africa's wealthiest leaders. Grab some popcorn. It's about to get wildly entertaining. Number 10. William Ruto, Kenya, with $305 million. The chicken whisperer who turned politics into a full-time hustle. William Ruto's rise from selling chickens on dusty streets to owning luxury hotels and helicopters reads like the Kenyan version of a Hollywood rags-to-riches blockbuster. But if this were a movie, critics might ask, where's the sequel explaining how he jumped from humble beginnings to a $305 million fortune? The Hustler-in-Chief's origin story. Born in Kamagut, Uasin Gishu County, Ruto started small, literally. He sold chicken and maize by the roadside as a child, a detail he loves to connect with Kenya's struggling masses. "I've been where you are," he often tells crowds. Of course, the crowds now chant, "Hustler," while wondering how exactly to replicate his kind of hustle. Spoiler alert, it doesn't involve just chickens. Ruto went on to study botany and zoology at the University of Nairobi, where he reportedly led Christian Union prayers. Apparently, even back then, he was building a network, one connection at a time, like a future politician in training. Ruto's big political break came in 1992, when he joined YK92, a youth group campaigning for President Moi. The group was accused of running a money-spewing machine for political patronage. Whether Ruto was learning the ropes of grassroots politics or how to count wads of cash faster than a bank teller remains a mystery. His wealth is more than just chickens. Ruto has consistently credited his fortune to chicken farming, a claim that would make the world's top agribusinesses blush with inadequacy. His farm, which reportedly sells over 150,000 eggs a day, is one of Kenya's most productive, tongue-in-cheek. If true, his chickens might be superheroes, or perhaps they have Swiss bank accounts. Beyond eggs, Ruto owns expansive farmland, luxury hotels, and multiple real estate ventures. His mansion in Sugoi, complete with a private airstrip, makes ordinary Kenyans wonder if they're in the wrong poultry business. Ruto's tenure in public office has been marked by allegations of corruption and land grabbing. One notable case involved him acquiring land from an internally displaced person, a plot twist so wild it could be a Netflix special. His rivals accuse him of perfecting the art of state capture, with tenders and contracts suspiciously aligning with his interests. But Ruto brushes off criticism with a smile as wide as a campaign billboard, insisting his wealth is legitimate. He somehow became the Hustler Nation's CEO. As president, Ruto has branded himself as a man of the people, promising a bottom-up economic revolution. His administration introduced the Hustler Fund, offering microloans to ordinary Kenyans. While some hail it as empowerment, skeptics argue it's like giving someone a wet matchstick to start a forest fire. Ambitious, but unlikely to work. Ruto's humor on the campaign trail remains legendary. Whether joking about selling mitumba, second-hand clothes, or roasting his opponents, he keeps Kenyans entertained, even as they wonder where their next meal will come from. Number 9. Patrice Talon, Benin, with $400 million. The cotton tycoon who runs Benin like his boardroom. Patrice Talon didn't just rise to power, he likely had a blueprint for it, complete with a profit margin. Born into modest circumstances in 1958, he built a cotton empire that dominated Benin's economy long before he decided to dominate its politics. Talon didn't need to join the political game, he simply acquired it. Entrepreneurship and monopoly in real life. By the 1990s, Talon had achieved a near monopoly on Benin's cotton industry. His nickname, the King of Cotton, wasn't just a nod to his success, it was practically a title of nobility. By the time he diversified into logistics, ports, and banking, Beninese citizens joked that if you're buying anything, Talon's fingerprints are on the receipt. The King of Cotton, Talon's political career got off to a dramatic start. He was accused of embezzlement and even attempting to poison then-President Thomas Boni Yayi. In most countries, a criminal charge ends your ambitions. In Benin, it's apparently part of the resume. After fleeing the country, Talon returned triumphantly in 2016 to run for president and won. His presidency is business as usual, literally. Talon promised to run Benin like a business. He wasn't kidding. His administration has privatized state assets, tightened tax collection, and streamlined government spending. Critics argue his reforms benefit his businesses more than the average citizen, but Talon insists he's creating a prosperous Benin for everyone who can afford it. Authoritarian tendencies have him as the CEO who hates competition. Benin was once hailed as a beacon of democracy in West Africa. Under Talon, that light has dimmed considerably. Opposition leaders find themselves jailed, exiled, or silenced faster than they can say election fraud. Talon's defenders call it stability. His detractors call it corporate takeover, Benin edition. Number 8. Cyril Ramaphosa from South Africa with a net worth of $450 million. Known as the sofa-stuffing cattle mogul who talks like a reformer, Cyril Ramaphosa's presidency is proof that even billionaires have to explain themselves sometimes, especially when $580,000 is found stashed in their sofa. Born in 1952 in Soweto, Cyril is a man of contrasts, a union leader turned tycoon, a reformer accused of dubious deals, and a farmer whose cows are wealthier than most South Africans. Ramaphosa's political career began during apartheid, where he helped organize worker strikes and labor movements. But his knack for negotiation wasn't limited to politics. Post-apartheid, he pivoted to business, acquiring stakes in McDonald's, mining companies, and telecoms. His business empire grew so vast, some joked he was the only man in South Africa who could strike for higher wages and pay himself. Ramaphosa's prized Ankole cattle, with their majestic horns and sky-high prices, have become a metaphor for his presidency: exclusive, inaccessible, and occasionally baffling. One cow sold for over $200,000, a price that raised questions about whether the cows had MBAs or just really good PR. The 2022 burglary at Ramaphosa's farm became a national punchline. Burglars allegedly found $580,000 stuffed into a sofa. Ramaphosa claimed the money came from legitimate cattle sales, but critics weren't buying it. South Africans wondered, why was it in cash? Why the sofa? And most importantly, does he have more furniture full of cash? Ramaphosa's presidency has been overshadowed by South Africa's energy crisis, with rolling blackouts disrupting daily life. While he promises reforms, citizens joke that his cows might have electricity before they do. Number 7. Uhuru Kenyatta from Kenya with a net worth of $500 million. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's origin story reads like a Marvel movie for politicians. Born on October 26, 1961, in Nairobi, his destiny was practically sealed. His father, Jomo Kenyatta, wasn't just the father of the nation. He was the father, wielding power, respect, and a very full land title deed drawer. Uhuru's childhood probably involved Monopoly games that ended with him owning the entire board, including the table. He attended St. Mary's School, where he was reportedly the kind of student who could negotiate his way out of detention with a handshake and a smile. His claim to fame at school? He was nicknamed Kamwana, the young one, which aged like fine wine when he grew into Kamwana, running a country. After St. Mary's, he jetted off to Amherst College in the US. There, he majored in economics and political science, because nothing says future leader like understanding both money and power. Uhuru wasn't always on the political fast track. In the late 1990s, he dipped his toes into politics, only to find himself running for president in 2002. He lost. Big time. But don't call it a defeat. Think of it as a trial run. Fast forward to 2013, and Uhuru had climbed the ranks to become Kenya's 4th president, complete with the authority, the power, and the stress wrinkles to prove it. He served 2 terms, stepping down in 2022 with a sigh of relief and possibly a margarita in hand. Uhuru's financial portfolio reads like a billionaire's bucket list. The Kenyattas own 500,000 acres. That's enough land to make even real estate tycoons cry a little. If Kenya were a pizza, the Kenyattas own every slice, the crust, and the delivery service. His family owns Brookside Dairy. This dairy giant practically monopolizes the East African milk market. Some say Brookside's business strategy is simple. Got milk? No? Buy from us. The family has interests in banking, which is basically what happens when your family tree comes with its own ATM. Critics argue this empire didn't grow organically, but rather through some fertilizer called political connections. Still, you have to admire the audacity. As president, Uhuru's salary was a modest $192,000 a year, hardly enough to fuel the family jet. Compare that to his estimated net worth of $500 million, and you've got enough side-eye to power the national grid. Where did the money come from? Land, milk, and possibly a secret money tree planted somewhere on their 500,000 acres. Uhuru's time at the top wasn't exactly a smooth ride on one of Kenya's new highways. Critics argue that some of the Kenyatta family's land acquisitions are, let's say, creatively sourced. Brookside Dairy's dominance in the milk industry has earned it comparisons to a dairy-themed mafia. Running a country while owning large chunks of its economy is like refereeing a game you're also playing in. Uhuru's legacy is mixed. Equal parts visionary projects and public debt anxiety. Big Four agenda. He promised advancements in manufacturing, healthcare, housing, and food security. While progress was made, some goals remained works in progress or pipe dreams. Kenya's national debt soared under his leadership, sparking debates about whether shiny new infrastructure is worth the IOUs to China. Despite fiery speeches about accountability, his administration seemed to collect scandals like Pokemon cards. While Uhuru was making millions, everyday Kenyans were fighting uphill battles. With over a third of the population lives below the poverty line. Kenyan graduates have more degrees than opportunities. Citizens wondered if their children would still repay the loans for new roads or their student debts past his reign. In summary, Uhuru Kenyatta leaves behind a complex legacy, a nation of big dreams, bigger debts, and a dairy empire no one can ignore. Number 6. Paul Kagame from Rwanda with a net worth of $500 million. Paul Kagame's story begins on October 23, 1957, in Tambwe, Rwanda. But by the time he was 4, his family was fleeing ethnic violence to Uganda. Refugee life shaped Kagame into a man who could survive and thrive in almost any situation. While most kids were learning to ride bikes, Kagame was figuring out how to lead armies and win wars. Kagame cut his leadership teeth in Uganda's National Resistance Army, proving that he could lead a battalion before he could legally drink. By the 1990s, Kagame was heading the Rwandan Patriotic Front, which not only ended the 1994 genocide, but also swept him to power. Kagame became president in 2000 and has clung to the position with the determination of a cat holding on to a tree branch. Kagame's wealth is the stuff of conspiracy theories and exposés. Crystal Ventures Limited, the Kagame family's investment firm, owns everything from construction companies to coffee shops. Prime properties in Kigali and secret hideaways abroad mean Kagame can host both state dinners and private retreats. Rwanda's coltan and tin industries keep Kagame's business associates busy and critics suspicious. Rwanda's 4G network is so good, you'd almost forget that Kagame's allies profit from it. Kagame's official salary is a humble $85,000 annually. But with a net worth reportedly in the hundreds of millions, he could comfortably buy Rwanda's GDP on eBay if it ever went on sale. Kagame's leadership comes with equal parts applause and side-eye. Opposition politicians often find themselves on vacation in prison or quietly relocating abroad. Rwanda's success in the mining industry raises questions about where the minerals come from, though Kagame denies any wrongdoing. Under Kagame, Rwanda has become Africa's poster child for development, but not without trade-offs. Economic transformation. Rwanda's progress is undeniable, with Kigali becoming a hub for tech and business. However, development has come at the expense of democratic freedoms, leaving some to wonder if Kagame's Rwanda is a shiny autocracy. While Kagame enjoys economic success, over 38% of Rwandans still live below the poverty line. Most citizens rely on subsistence farming, a world away from Kagame's urban successes. In summary, Kagame's Rwanda is like a designer suit, sharp, polished, and undeniably expensive. But underneath the glitz, not everyone gets to enjoy the wealth. Do you agree with this list? Leave a comment, subscribe, like, and share to know which leaders make the top 5. Thank you for watching.